What's the piece of software that you spend the most time with on your computer? Go ahead, shout it at your computer screen. Whatever you just said, you're wrong. No, it's not Google Chrome, Microsoft Office, Slack, Teams, or Steam. It's your operating system. I've been exploring Canadian alternatives to popular apps and software, and I'm going to be doing a video all about that coming soon, so stay subscribed to the channel to see that. But first, if you're going to be using apps and software on your computer, you're going to need an operating system. And Windows and macOS are not Canadian operating systems. Now you're probably thinking, no duh, there are no Canadian operating systems. Or are there? I did some digging, and there is a distro of Linux called MapleOS Linux. But could a Canadian distro of Linux be as good as the others? And what makes it Canadian? Let's find out together as we install and explore MapleOS. Maple Linux, built in Canada, designed for your privacy. Maple Linux is based on Debian. Our goal is to create a flexible and easy to maintain distro built for Canadian users. It was built, modeled on Canadian and EU privacy standards. Canada's like, in terms of its digital independence, Canada has no truly Canadian AI, Git platform, or operating system. These are key issues that Maple OpenTech, the maintainers of Maple Linux, seek to address. It looks like the idea is just to create something that they have control over, that is owned and able to be controlled by Canadians. Let's hit the download button. All right, I've gone ahead and booted up the live CD of Maple Linux OS into Oracle's virtual box so we can test it. First thing I'm noticing is that we've got this Maple Leaf start menu button, but nothing else looking super Canadian right now. Let's look into the themes and see if there's anything unique about the themes. Looks like standard themes. What about backgrounds? I'm not seeing anything unique. This looks like it's probably all stuff from Debian. Okay, so what do we got down here? We got LibreWolf, gedit, which just looks like a text editor. We've got our file folder, looks like pretty standard stock stuff. I think that's the default, basically file explorer, I forget what they call it, in GNOME or GNOME. I think it's pronounced GNOME, but that just sounds so goofy and I just call it GNOME. Games, nothing looking particularly Canadian. Let's type Canada, Canadian. Maybe something in our home folder. Computer. I do appreciate that there is a computer. I'm pretty sure in my Mint one, that's not a thing. It's just a home folder. That's kind of cool. We can see our disks. I think LibreWolf is a browser, so it's kind of weird that they went ahead and they put two browsers, Firefox ESR and LibreWolf, on the desktop. Oh, it defaults to DuckDuckGo. I like that for privacy purposes. One of the great things about DuckDuckGo is these things called bangs. That's where you use the exclamation point and then type in certain things like Wikipedia, and I'm gonna say Canada flag. And it'll go straight to Wikipedia instead of just bringing me to a search. Let's click on the Canada flag, more details. Let's go to this nice juicy big one, save it to our downloads. So we're gonna need to, do we got an Inkscape on here? Nice, we do. So let's open that up in Inkscape. Oh, to open a file, downloads, open. Let's just go to file, export. There you go, it's a PNG. Let's take this SVG stuff off of it. Export, oh, I didn't even check where it was going. In the same folder, perfect. I should be able to just right click, right, and say set as wallpaper. Okay, guys, couldn't you have at least done that to make this a little more Canadian? Let's see if anything else is a bit more Canadian when we install it. In the install, it says American English or UK English as the only options, which is odd because on the website it talked about using Canadian English, and you would think that that would be one of the simple things that they could use. You can't simply just do UK or US English if you want true Canadian English, because if you want true Canadian English, you're going to spell color with OU like the UK does, but you're not going to spell cozy with an S like the UK does. You're going to spell it with a Z like the US does, only you're going to call it Z like you're supposed to. So I did notice, though, a little note saying that it would actually switch to Canadian English once it was properly installed. Let's go next. Let's do Vancouver. Again, no Canadian options here. Maybe if I went into, yeah, I got French Canadian, but no English Canadian. Now let's let it install. Maple Linux, welcome to Maple Linux Core. Updates are ready to install. How cool. Let's not install updates into a live boot environment that isn't going to do anything. Let's poke around while that's installing, see if there's anything in these preloaded applications that would give us a indication of anything, literally anything whatsoever. A lot of pre-installed apps. Yeah, man, there's like just nothing about this that's telling me Canadian other than just like, hey, like look at our button. But I could probably like find, like, let me see, let's configure this. Let's go here. Okay, so this is the menu, this is the icon. Does it show us where this icon is located? Browse. Yup. Right here. Copy location, close this, close this, close this. Let's open a new window. Let's paste that location. So we've got this right here. So I could literally just copy this out. I'm not gonna bother. I'm gonna let this install and then jump forward. This is now my install of Maple Linux OS. I also tried GhostBSD, which is Canadian, but it just wasn't going to work for my needs here. This is not the default wallpaper, as you saw earlier in my VM version. This wallpaper is actually from the basic Apple guy. Right here, as you can see, his floral collection. He, I have recently discovered, is also Canadian, so I thought it would be fun. It's a little shout out to another Canadian creator to use one of his wallpapers in the background. You can find him at thebasicappleguy.com. Now, I had some trouble getting certain apps to work here on our Maple OS, such as Obsidian, which I have gotten to work now, thankfully. But the reason for this is, if we go to the software store, when I searched Obsidian, it didn't come up. You can see it does now, and Debian, which our Maple OS is a slight variation on, does not include Flatpaks. To be able to do this, you have to open your terminal, and you have to, I believe it was sudo apt install Flatpak, and then of course you put your password in. Now Flatpak is already installed in my case, so it's not doing anything. If you're not a fan of command line terminal stuff, that's going to be a little bit annoying out of the box, but again, it's just sudo apt install Flatpak. It's one command. But one thing I did notice is that after I installed the Flatpaks, there was no change. I still couldn't find Obsidian in here. I think I had to reboot twice before it actually showed up for me. Not entirely sure why that was. But after that, I would say that this is a completely functional system. I do plan to have a future video all about Canadian alternatives to popular apps like Google Docs. I'll talk about some Canadian games, so subscribe for that. But this has been my exploration of Maple OS Linux. Am I going to start dailying Maple OS Linux? No. And that's because I'm not at a point where I'm able to daily Linux, period, I have to use Mac or Windows for my day job. That being said, if you are not tied to any proprietary software, this is a fully well-rounded system. People use Debian all the time. If you're using Ubuntu, Zorin, Linux Mint, you're already using the child or grandchild of Debian in the first place. So if you are looking for a purely Canadian alternative to Microsoft or Mac OS, you could use Maple Linux OS. Now, again, is it truly 100% Canadian? I would say no. It doesn't get 5 out of 5 maple leafs from me because it is, as we've explored and seen, only a minor tweak based on Debian. Now, I think the idea is that because they've taken this base, made some changes, they have a version that they have control over in case other versions become inaccessible or just not a great choice for Canadians. So on the front of things like data sovereignty, it doesn't really need to be that revolutionarily different to be a valid replacement. Still, I would like to see the creators of this project push it further to become more uniquely Canadian or just unique in the first place. If you would like to support this channel, I have a Buy Me a Coffee page. I actually mostly write stories on there. I'm writing a historical novel right now, but I also put other content like some videos that I have filmed that haven't made it to this channel, not because they're not good enough. When I'm editing, I want to keep it tight and really focused on the topic, but sometimes there's some interesting stuff that comes out. And so I'll cut it out and make it into another video. And so I'll be putting some of those videos up there. So if you want to check it out, link is on the screen and in the description. You can sign up monthly for just a couple bucks, or you can just leave a one-time donation if you just want to say thank you. Either way, I appreciate everyone who's watched, commented, liked, subscribed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Oh, Canada!